waves churned like the sea itself was angry. Hook's floating fortress cut through the storm like a blade of black wood and steel. The dark trader stood at the prow, eyes burning with cold vengeance. This wasn't just revenge. This was the Empire striking back. The Deathstar ship loomed on the horizon, black sails billowing like storm clouds, cannons bristling along every deck, pirate flags snapping loud. Merchant, now the dark trader, stood tall in her scarred armor and cloak, burn marks from her last defeat still fresh, but her hatred had only grown. Bring me their heads, she commanded, voice caught in through the wind. Disney remnants manned the guns with cold efficiency and sin. Cola cartel thugs loaded explosive barrels with a grin. Santa's lawyers drafted the final contract. Sign or be erased within. Hook laughed from the helm, twirling his hook with glee. Those forest rats think they can challenge the sea. Today we sink their little revolution once and for all. No more misfit crew, just bodies floating in the squall. On the shore the crew watched the approaching monster. Red's grip tightened on her knife. The air was thick with dread and defiance. Dark traders, Deathstar, rain fire from the sky. Cannonballs exploding like judgment from on high. The crew charged forward, chaos in every eye. Fairy tale avengers against the Empire's might. Beast went bulk roaring as he smashed through the surf. Gretel and Widowmaker, hair weeds cracking like thunder on the earth. Thorn and Captain Charisma swung through the rigging with grace and fire. Armor Man and Pepper coordinating every desperate play from the pyre. Pinocchio Doki glowed on the beach, no strings attached, we fight. Cinderai rode in on a battle-hardened steed. Baby Bear upgraded for the night. Bow drawn arrows flying with deadly precision and might. Miss me, she yelled, we just took down the candy cane cartel and the coke dealer's blight. The ship unleashed hell, broadsides thundering across the bay. The crew dove behind rocks as explosions lit the fray. Puss in Boots went full rocket, fuel pistols blazing with glee. Boom boom time, you scurvy dogs, this is my kind of party. He zipped across the water on a stolen barrel like a madman in flight, firing wildly while yelling, "Ole, take that, you oversized parasites!" A pirate tried to grab him, Puss split midair with the grin. Bad touch, matey, now you're wearing my boot on your chin. Rapunzel directed from the tree line with sharp commands. Armor Man, left flank Thorn, take the high ground, understand. Prince in his funky suit blasted repulsors while narrating every move. Statistically this should be impossible, yet here we improve. Cinderai and Baby Bear charged like a one-woman cavalry storm. Arrows singing through the air, Baby Bear's upgraded armor taking the form of pure power. Metal plates and Snow's tech making him a beast. Together they tore through the boarding parties, never missing a beat. For a long, terrifying moment, the battle hung by a thread. The Deathstar's cannons focused fire, the crew pinned and nearly dead. Merchant laughed from the bridge, your little revolution ends here. Who crazed his hook? Time to make them walk the plank, my dear. But Pinocchio Doki hacked the ship's core with glowing wooden grace. No strings attached, systems failing in this place. The Deathstar listed hard, pirates panicking on the tilting deck. Cinderai's final arrow hit the powder magazine. A massive explosion rocked the wreck. The crew poured onto the ship in a glorious messy wave, smashing through pirates, Widowmaker tying them like slaves. Thorn and Captain Charisma clearing the upper decks with flair. Puss cackling from the crow's nest, It was never going back.